7 p.m., so we won't disadvantage the people who are on time. And I will call the meeting to order of the Grafton Cable Oversight Committee. We'll take a roll call for attendance. Bob Berger.
Bob Berger here.
Bob Berger, aye. Bob DeToma.
Here.
Bob DeToma, aye. Jim Gallagher, aye. Bob Hassinger.
I'm here.
Bob Hassinger, aye. Jack Kelly is not yet with us. Lisa Kelly.
Aye.
Is here. Aye. Corson Wyman is not here. So I'm going to just plow right into this. Where I just found out that we have a member of the public listening in with Mrs. Hassinger there.
Actually,
Hang on a second. Something just popped up in my screen about Corson. It might be a message from him. I don't know.
new Zoom link.
Yeah, the only way I could find a link that actually worked was to go to the town website under calendar, bring up the agenda there and click on the link there.
Well, I'll tell you, I got into this meeting using the agenda that I mailed out to the group.
Yeah,
And
well,
that worked for me.
yeah, well, it did. I tried like 4 times on 2 different computers.
Gentlemen, that's
Kept getting
fine.
errors.
I will text him
Mr.
what
Berger.
the ID is now.
Okay, but we're going to keep going. Is there any other, Bob Berger, is there any other member of the public?
No, I have nobody here.
Okay, and seeing where we have another member of the planning board that is a member of the public on, I am going to dispense with the pre-meeting about who does what and get right to the meeting.
I think he failed anyway.
Okay. The
So
first
the
item. First item is the minutes of the December 20th meeting. Is there a motion on the floor?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Motion made, and we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Bob
Aye.
Berger?
Bob Berger, aye.
Bob Berger, aye. Bob DeToma?
Can't hear you, Bob.
Aye.
Bob DeToma, aye. Jim Gallagher, aye. Bob Hassinger?
Aye.
Aye. Jack Kelly is still not with us. Lisa Kelly
Aye.
is aye, and Corson Wyman still not with us. So we will show that the members that are present, it was unanimous. Before we get into the treasurer's report and the budget review and everything like that, I'd like to take just a second on the record to congratulate Bob, actually to thank Bob Berger. The attachments that were sent out, including the how to read revenue and expense report, are simple for me to understand. And if that's the case, then I don't see anyone anywhere that could have any problem with this. So I wanted to thank you for the work that you did, getting the reports together and the budget review together. And I presume that the Finance Commission public hearing of February 9th, I imagine you're going to be there, Mr. Berger?
Absolutely, and Bob DeTome is also going to accompany me there.
Bob DeToma and company. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing that. So let's go to the treasurer's report. So Bob Berger, it's all you.
Give me a minute. Corson's having difficulties. I'm going to tell him that's the number.
Also tell him that you're presenting your report. So he's should.
Oh, you know what? He might be right. You know, this is the second time I've been in meetings where people just can't get their act straight. So I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to do my report. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to share my screen. And I'll just go to number 1. And the first thing that we're going to look at again is how to. I'm just going to go right to how to. how to read, because everybody should see the report that's generated through the accountant's office. This is how you read it. So we're gonna go right down to the bottom. These are the lines. We've expended 47,000, 25, 4,000, and 2,600. And out of those lines, I added another explanation that personnel services, we've got 46%. Purchase of services is, stuff we pay Page and our contractors. We're at 85%. That number's a little bit high. We knew that was going to be like that because we had to do the repair around the building. Energy and non-energy, 47, 12%. In supplies, we've only expended 7%. Out of all the monies we brought in and all the monies that have gone out, we now have for available funds a little over $750,000. And that's my treasurer's report. And I'd be happy to take any questions on that. No questions.
Okay, seeing none, we'll take a motion on the treasurer's report.
No need for a,
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
All right, never mind. I was just seeing if you guys were paying attention.
I
Yeah.
was paying attention.
test.
Okay.
Very good, good job. All
Okay.
right, so let's move along to the budget review.
Okay, so those lines that I talked about is represented in here. Here's your energy, non-energy, personal services, purchase of services, and then you have maintenance and supplies. And then down below, you have our interest payment for our bond. So we'll just take line for line, energy and non-energy. Bob and I sat down, we took a look at what we expended the previous year, and these are the numbers that we came up with. So that line, it looks like we're spending $38,500. So that's why that is there. Then you go personal services. Now incorporated in this personal services is Bob DeToma, John, and Bill. And Bob is actually trying to request up to 30 hours for Bill. That's why this number went up. And of course, everybody got, I think, a 2% raise because that's what was part of our budget direction for raises. It was either 2 or 2.5. And then we left $5,000 in there for overtime. Any questions on that line?
I have one. If you're going to 30 hours on Bill, did Jack, and I don't know to call him Jack or John, I always get screwed up. Did he request additional hours? No? Okay. All right, that's all I had.
And we don't know if that's going to go through or not, because when you do that, there's ramifications when you go over 19 hours. And this has to go through the town administrator, the town finance director. Once we get past through that hurdle, then it goes up in front of FinCom. And then if we get through that hurdle, then it gets voted on in the town warrant, in a warrant article, not in the budget. Everybody understands that, I hope. All right.
And again, we're not talking about town money, so we really shouldn't have any speed bumps on this road, right?
Right. But that's the process that we're going through. So
Okay,
now
thank you.
purchase of services. Well, I had to put our attorney in there, and I have to just throw $10,000 for his line, because what they did is Spectrum is 10 years and Verizon is 5 years. So what that means is we start negotiating now for Verizon because it's almost up. So it's almost like a trap that the lawyers say, we'll make them 10, we'll make you 5. That way our revenue can keep on going. No, I'm not saying Bill did that, but it looks like that because we never get a rest on legal fees now. And then here is all your tightrope and all our staples that we just have to keep on paying because that's what it takes to run it. And on the bottom line, engineering for design of room F, we threw that $25,000 in to get Stewart in there, design conference room F to be more in line with conference room A. And then going down a little bit more, I got two people in the waiting room. I don't know who these two people are, but I'm gonna let them in now. Oh, I got Jack and I got Corson. Okay, so let the record show, at 7:10, Jack and Corson came into the meeting. And now where we are with supplies and maintenance, I just throw a placeholder of $38,000 in there, to cover cameras, cables, equipment, just to keep the production going throughout the year. Last but not least, well, actually, I have two more items in here. I got principal. Please mute your microphone, who just came in. I've got principal and interest, that's covering our bond. And then equipment upgrades, we have $65,000. Bob D, can you explain, because I don't have a note here and I don't remember what the $65,000 was covering.
That's a good question. No, we were, if I remember correctly, we were pricing out the new unit that Tightrope says we need to install for closed captioning.
That was 35.
30, 37. 37,000. We were also looking at the possibilities of a remote switcher, 3 robotic cameras, 3 tripods, and sundry other equipment.
That was the lunchbox. Okay, so taking all those numbers, it looks like we're going to be expending. I want to mute all. Hold on. I'm going to stop my share. Okay, I just muted Corson. That's Corson now calling me saying, why did you mute me? So with that, it looks like we're going to be expending $437,000, and we requested town meeting for $440,000. That's going to be in an article, and our 2020 payments was $359,000. It looks like we're going to be expending this year more than we are bringing in. But you know what? I don't have a problem with that, because we still have $700,000 in the bank that we can spend down. We don't have to be, only spend what we're bringing in, because we're doing something with the monies. And that's my budget report. We're here to have an open discussion if you feel that you want to adjust anything before we present.
All right, so any discussion will be through me. So can I, are there any hands? You know what? All right, thank you. All right, so we've got one. Is that the only one that has a question? Okay, Bob Hassinger.
Yeah, I think the main thing I want to be clear about with this question of bringing in less than we're spending is if our spending for things that are going on every year is within what's coming in each year. You see what I'm saying? If it is, then we maintain the 700,000 in the bank, sort of. If we're spending more on all those other things that you listed that are ongoing expenses for each year, if we're spending more there than what our income is, we pull down what we have available, and that begins to make me uncomfortable. I'm not quite sure. I think we're someplace near even, but I've not been in any shape to do very heavy analysis of that. Oxy, whatever, doesn't help with that sort of analysis.
All right, Bob Berger, how comfortable are you?
I'm pretty comfortable because, we want to do the closed caption. So that, everything that is in the budget, other than adding more hours for personnel, which, but you're not talking much money for that. So that's really a non-starter.
But that's not my question.
Okay, can you just make your question clear so he can answer it?
Well, I was sure it was very clear. So
Well, no, you just went on for a while there, but just make your question in the form of a statement, please.
I want our ongoing every year expenditures to be no greater, or I want to understand if they're greater than the money we're going to be bringing in. Next year, we'll be spending, if you take away those one-time purchases from this budget, I think most of the rest of it is expenditures that we pay every year: rent, heat, salaries, services, and so on. I want all of those to not be exceeding the money we're going to bring in next year, so that our money in the bank stays the same, except when we decide to draw that down to buy something like cameras or one-time purchases, capital rather than operating.
Okay, I think we've always had that kind of financial wisdom as we've gone forward. And I think what we've done is we've probably satisfied that in the budget that has just been presented to us. So, I mean, none of us have the crystal ball to know exactly what is going to come up in the next year, but I think this probably addresses where we think we should be, and we also have some room available should something else occur. So I'm going to ask, is there a motion to accept the budget?
Make a motion to accept the budget.
Motion made. Is there a
Second.
second? Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll just say one thing. I'm sorry to do this to you, Mr. Chair, but Bob, just to clarify, we are doing one-time purchases that are bringing us over the top, which is, we all know, and we're all in agreement that we want to have closed caption.
Did you not listen to me?
I did. And
I said, set those aside, set the one-time expenses aside,
and
then look and figure in the 2% next year, whatever, we can predict what our costs are going to be pretty well for all that kind of stuff next year. And I want for us to compare it against what we expect to receive next year. I'm absolutely baffled at how that can't be a clear question.
Oh
Okay.
my God, you rambled on for 5 minutes,
okay,
Bob.
you know what?
We can't pull a question out of there.
I
Move
did.
on, Corson.
I did. And I'm gonna satisfy his curiosity, because
All right.
I just did it. Okay. I'm just gonna move this screen over here. So I just took out the equipment upgrades, and I just took out the design fee of $25,000.
Yeah,
Those are one-time fees. That brings us down to $347,000. And what we bring in is $359,000 based on a full year.
okay, so we're drawing down on an annual basis. Every year, we're going to be drawing down, as the budget goes this way, every year we'll be drawing down whatever that difference is.
That's right. Well, we're right now, we're bringing in $360,000. That's what we're bringing in. And out of that $360,000, I'm allocating $347,000. So we're still bringing in more than we're taking out.
Okay. Even considering, well, okay. It's close
All right,
enough.
can we move on?
Jim,
Yeah,
it's close enough for this year.
Okay,
My part of my concern I try to look more than 1 year ahead. I'm one of those planning board kind of people that looks ahead. And I know that our revenues will be going down over the years. Cable is going down. So
all right.
I need to be clear about that. Is it okay?
Okay, that's good, but what, wait, excuse me. What we have here is we have a question that is in discussion that we're looking for a vote. So we're not gonna really get into what's gonna happen later on when people cut the cable bill. What we're talking about is this budget right now. I understand, Corson, did you have a question?
And I'll vote no.
Okay,
Because
good.
you won't let me.
Oh,
We
okay,
have a responsibility that goes beyond this year and this budget.
okay, but
We have to consider this question going forward on our budgets and what our
Okay.
policies are. Maybe
Thank you very
maybe we're
much.
spending too much every year and we have to cut back. I don't know.
okay.
Or I want to be
Cool.
comfortable that we're not going to have to do that. Is that
Okay,
okay
thank
for
you.
me to do?
Okay, thank you. Corson, did you have a question? You're muted.
You're muted. Unmute your mic.
Doesn't seem to be able to.
No,
Can't hear you, Carson. I think
Okay,
you
he's muted.
him.
Let Bob run the meeting, please.
All right, now allows me to talk. All right. I wasn't making any noise. I didn't say anything before. You thought it was coming from me, but it wasn't. My square was not green. My square was not green. Anyway, but what I was just the gist of all of this is basically let's have a clear view of what reoccurring expenses are on the list, so that you can basically see what those things are. Like you get coffee at butter every week. You have all these things that occur all the time, and basically this is what you purchase consistently, and that is in one group that you have that's itemized, that says this is itemized, that says this is what our expenses are. And I think that's for the most part what Bob Hessinger was focusing on, that we need to see that and have that way, that all of the other non-recurring items are itemized in a separate category, so that you can see the variations between them. Now, milk, cheese, butter, those other things, they may end up changing their price over time as the economy goes. So those reoccurring expenses, we want to be able to see where that cap is and how it will fluctuate, how it does go up or down, given the circumstances of the economy. So I think what Bob was focusing on is that we need to really watch what those reoccurring so that we know just how much extra we've got on the side that we can perhaps spend that extra that we'd like to. I think that was the main gist of it. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Bob.
Okay,
enough.
thank you.
Close enough.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none. Roll call, Bob Berger.
Bob Burger, aye.
Bob Berger, aye. Bob DeToma.
Aye.
Bob DeToma, aye. Jim Gallagher, aye. Bob Hassinger.
Aye.
Bob Hassinger, aye. Jack Kelly.
Aye.
Jack Kelly, aye. Lisa Kelly.
Kelly, aye.
Lisa Kelly, aye. Corson Wyman.
Aye.
Corson Wyman, aye. So the budget is passed unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to the annual town report. Bob DeToma, are you good with that? Is that all set? Or all right, so
All done.
all right, we can move along. Next is the on the studio reports from Bob and then from Jack. What I would again ask is that if you have any questions or comments, that you wait until after they've presented their report and not during the report. Thank you. Bob DeToma, you're on.
During the past years, COVID closed down at the municipal center, we've had no studio activity to speak of. The young woman who does the bus stop weather was recovering from COVID, so she'll return next week into the studio. I had a gentleman from town reach out to me who is a jazz musician. Looking for information about coming into the studio and performing jazz that could be podcast.
All right, Bob, could I just ask you to suspend for a minute? Bob Berger, am I the only one that's hearing this repeated thing? Do we know what it is?
No,
There's an echo. Somebody has two.
It
sources
is
of
coming
power.
from course and I can see it lighting up.
Corson, can you see, could you mute and we can see what happens? See if it goes away?
I'm not hearing anything on my side, but sure.
Oh, well, see, that's it. Yeah, I think maybe that's right. All right, no, do it again.
It says mute right now.
Oh, well, oh, there you are talking. Okay, now it shows you muted.
All right, so now if I
Okay,
talk,
now Bob DeToma, would you continue and let's see if we still have that issue.
A gentleman from town who's a jazz musician reached out to me. He's inquiring about recording jazz sessions in the studio, which he thought would be a nice addition to the programming that we've been adding on a daily basis for senior citizens that are sitting at home and no longer have access to the senior center during the lockdown. We had to push that back, obviously, because the municipal center was closed down. So he thought that we could get together and talk about that project coming up maybe in March or April. Moving on to the units in Tightrope Rack, I spoke to Danielle, who conferred with Gary Pink, our friends at Ober's Company, and they are going to investigate whether or not the parts that we need are readily available. She was kind of surprised that Tightrope suggested we buy the parts we need off of Amazon, so they were going to do some investigation and get back to me with answers. And if it becomes necessary to source the parts from somewhere other than Amazon, they'd be happy to help us out with that. So it's always nice to know that she's there to help us out. During her most recent visit, she came into the studio and she did a kind of a quick diagnostic on the audio system. In the control booth in the main studio, Bill and Jack had commented that they thought that the audio system was sounding kind of scratchy. And so she and I spent a good hour and a half kind of going through diagnostics on the audio panel. And when we finished up, it was really just kind of a simple fix. She suspected that there was some dust or debris that had worked its way into the sliders. And so we worked out that problem, and we were both satisfied that the audio was back to normal without any significant distortion or hiss or crackling. And we have had 3 people reach out to us, 2 to myself and 1 to Jack, who were interested in the spring producers course. The emails were sent and responded to. However, I don't see any real activity happening until maybe March or April. I imagine most people, being human beings, will just procrastinate until it's closer to the deadline. But so we've had 3 responses, and that pretty much covers everything on my side of the studio. And I'm happy to turn it over to Jack.
Well, before we do that, did anyone have any questions for Bob? Okay, thank you. Jack, can I ask you a question? Excuse me, just a second. Jack, can I ask you a question? Do you prefer Jack or John?
Jack.
Jack, okay. Thank you. Did you have a question, Mr. Hassinger?
I did.
All right, let's hear it.
I've heard Danielle mentioned a number of times. This is the same Danielle we all know, right?
Yeah.
The last I heard, she had left Greater Media, whatever, and I haven't heard what she's doing since. And I'm interested in how she's fitting into all of this. Who's she with, or
She works for Ober's Company. She reports to Gary Pink.
for which company?
Ober's Company, formerly known as the Camera Company.
Okay. Okay. Is our guy still down there? What's his name?
Marty Green.
Marty.
No, so now it's Gary.
Okay, so Bob Hassinger, are you actually happy, or are these the beds speaking when we see you break into laughter?
That's an interesting thing to have happen, and that's probably quite beneficial.
All right.
She knows this customer.
Very good. All right, Jack Kelly.
Right, so we released a pretty highly produced studio tour, which has been a long time in the making. And I think it came out very well. It's been well received. I've been working very closely with some more of the high school students, and I'm finally starting to build some sort of pipeline from the high school to the studio. Again, without really much help from the high school, but we're still getting there. And finally, I just wanted to talk about some analytic stuff. I'm seeing way more numbers on Facebook. So from now on, I'm going to try and shift our release, not necessarily for government meetings and basic stuff, but for some of our more highly produced projects, we're going to shift our early releases to Facebook because that's where most of the eyes are going to be. And that is all.
Anyone with questions for Jack? Okay, we thank Bob's and thank Jack. Now, our next meeting, as you remember, as it started out, it's February is another holiday for when we normally do it. So we were going to push it to Thursday, and I got a letter from Bob Hassinger about some meetings that he has. So what I'm saying here is where we have Bob Berger's, as I'm reminded, with Bob Berger's hookup here. Why don't we just go with Wednesday, February 23rd?
I can do that.
Okay. All right, so be it. Items not reasonably anticipated. The only thing I did want to talk about is that just the last couple of days, I sent out the message from the town clerk about the conflict of interest and so forth. And I'm sure that most of you are like me, and you did this last year. So I went to page 11 in her attachment, and all you have to do is just fill out that page, send it on its way, and you're done. All right. Having said that, are there any motions on the floor?
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Motion
Second.
to adjourn, made and seconded. Bob Berger,
Bob Burger, aye.
Bob Berger, aye. Bob DeToma,
Aye.
Bob DeToma, aye. Jim Gallagher, aye. Bob Hassinger,
Aye.
aye. Jack Kelly,
Aye.
Jack Kelly, aye. Lisa Kelly,
Aye.
Lisa Kelly, aye. And Corson Wyman.
Aye. Oh, wait a minute. Unmute?
Yeah,
No,
you're
you're,
right.
no, you're unmuted. Now you're muted. I just wanted to see if we started hearing no, you're muted.
Wait, sorry. Now I,
Okay.
yes, aye.
Okay, say something else. I just want to see if that echo happens again.
Aye.
Again.
You know, the echo was coming when other people were talking.
So if I started talking and he's
Yeah,
not
it's
muted,
there. It's there.
it's there. Okay.
It must
Corson,
be feedback. It must be
before
feedback. Turn
February?
my volume down.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, before February 23rd, you want to work on that, please. All right, so it's unanimous and we are adjourned.